This is my 8Bitdo NES30 arcade stick, and I just modded and upgraded it with Sanwa buttons. Went with the clear red and the smoky black look. I like the look of the, how it looks like an old Nintendo controller, so I wanted to keep the red, but to make it look different, I went with the clear red. Change it up a little bit, and then I also installed a Sanwa JLF stick in there. So I'll show you how I did that. Because the original stick that it comes with, see how it has the connectors, so you could put there's no circuit board on it. So the only other stick that I've seen that you could directly just plug and play in here is the Saimitsu, because it comes with a similar style like this. So you can put butt connectors on the wire or solder it on, however. So the JLF comes with pins where this one does have a circuit board, and it comes with pins where you would connect the harness to. So it wouldn't work wiring it to here, because this PCB has a certain connector for each little micro switch or actuator. So what I did is I soldered it directly. I used the same wires, same connectors. So I cut these on. I cut the wires off of the original stick, and then I used some wire strippers. I stripped the wire, and then I soldered it directly to the actuators. Since this one doesn't have the same style of connector, so I just soldered it directly. I put it in, but it didn't work. Once I tried to play with it, I would move the stick any direction and nothing would happen. So what I figured out is, since the JLF is all the actuators are soldered directly to the circuit board, they all share a common ground. So every time you try to actuate, go in one direction, it was trying to actuate all four buttons or all four actuators, and then it just wouldn't move anywhere. So let me take off the gate. This would be easier to do if the stick was not installed yet, but I had already installed, and then I realized it wasn't going to work, so I didn't want to take it off again, so I just do it like this. Okay, see, that's the circuit board. All these are the grounds. This one is a ground. This one is a ground. That one's a ground. And this one is a ground. And they're all on the same, they share a common ground, so they're all on the same circuit. They're all tied in together. Goes all the way like this, and then this is the ground pin, which would go to the harness, and that's what you'd connect, say, to like a Brooks board or something like that. That one is set up to use a common ground, but this one is not. This one has individual. See how each connector is set up to go to each actuator. So what I did is I just soldered it directly to there, and then in order to get it to work, I have to break up this common ground. So the easiest way for me was I got my X-Acto knife, and then I went along here. Like, you could pretty much do it anywhere. What you want to do is you just want to break up these grounds so that they're not on the same series. So I got my X-Acto knife, and I just made a cut. Put a little bit of pressure, went over it a few times just to break the copper in there, and then that way they don't make contact anymore. So now they're separate. You have to make 3. I did one right here, one right there, then I did one right here, and then I did the last one right there. After that, it works perfect. Works great. If you have a multimeter, you could actually do it and then check the continuity between this solder point and this one to make sure that it's open. If you do it, check continuity before, you're gonna have no resistance here. It's gonna have a perfect connection. And once you do the cut, then you'll have an open circuit. I just can't do it because I'm doing it with one hand. But if you don't have a multimeter, that's fine. You could just plug it in and see if it works. If it doesn't, then cut a little more, go a little deeper. And that's pretty much it. I'll show you a little diagram I drew on how I wired this. Just try to put this back on. And I also installed a oversized actuator. Change this right here. It makes it a little tighter and less travel. So every time you hit the joystick, see how it barely has to move for it to actuate the button. So it works pretty well like that. I tried different stuff. I tried putting the different spring, but then it just felt way too tight. I had to put more pressure. I didn't really like the way that felt. I tried using the octagon gate, but I didn't really like the feel of that. So I do like just the square gate. See, that's a square. So to me, the square gate is the best with the oversized actuator. I bought this at focusattack.com. This stick was $20, and then the actuator was like $1 or something like that. Not that much. So it's pretty cheap. It's a simple, cheap upgrade, and it works way better. Because I noticed the original one that it came with didn't work very well. So that's it. See, these are all the connectors going here. I pretty much soldered them. They pretty much go in the same place where you take off the old stick. They're pretty much soldered in the same spots. And I'll show you right now. See how this is on. That's how I positioned it. And then put the Sanwa buttons. You have to rearrange them a little bit to work, because I use it with the NES Classic and my Super Nintendo Classic. So I rearranged them because all the punches and the kicks are all mixed around. So I didn't write down how I did it. You kind of just move them around. You put in Street Fighter and you'll see which one does what. And then you just put it where you want it. But that's how I did it. There's a color combination. Blue, green, yellow. Blue, green, yellow, and then red. And then these last two, those do, one works as start and one will work as select on the classic editions. But it's pretty cool, but I'm going to unplug the start one because sometimes when you're playing and you accidentally hit the button, you pause the game. So I'm going to unplug that. I will leave the select one, because when I want to back out of the game, I just need to do the joystick select instead of hitting this little tiny button. And here is the diagram. It's labeled on the PCB on the circuit board on the 8Bitdo. They're labeled right, left, down, up.